morning. I'm Ben. I'm here with
Greffrey?
Greffrey. It is 7:33 on Saturday morning.
The earliest we've ever done a podcast.
Yes, we're tired, but we're ready. So, go ahead.
I took one of those energy packets,
Mm.
and when I was in here, I panicked a little bit because I drank all of it at once. I just chugged the glass, and it's 200 milligrams of caffeine.
Oh my god.
And my chest tightened real quick, and I was like, oh no, I thought I was having a heart attack for a second. That's why I came out. And pet Myra, I was like,
okay.
I need to stand up.
You need to calm down.
I'm not used to that much all at once.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're here.
Yeah.
We're queer. Get used to it.
Yeah. So this week we are talking about. We're going to cover 3 of the 101 True Tales from the World of Espionage by Justin Black, and we are also getting into some presidential smugglers.
Ooh. They smuggle the president, or president smuggled?
President smuggles.
Okay.
Hmm?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Sounds pretty sweet.
Yeah.
This is the book I bought that they sent that old Soviet ruble with, that dollar.
Oh, okay.
I kind of want to put that somewhere in here.
Yeah, you
It
should.
looks cool. I think
Yeah.
it's from 61 or something like that.
Nice.
So I don't think it's worth anything now. But
I'm sure you can. I found actually. That's what's funny about that. I searched on eBay a few months ago just for Soviet bills. They had a good bit.
Oh, there's tons of them. This guy has a whole vault of them. He sends out with his stuff.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Black.
Justin Black. He signed this book. I don't know if he's a big author or not, but he signed my book.
Is it a stamp or is it a real signature?
It looks like a Sharpie signature.
Okay.
I don't know. I just found him on Instagram. He has a spycraft page, and he was like, "Hey, I'm sending out these dollars with books," and I was like, "I'll buy one."
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sweet. So you want to do yours first, or you want me to do mine first?
You pick.
Let's flip a coin.
Heads.
It's tails.
Okay. Wait, I called heads.
Oh shit. I don't know what I was thinking. It's early.
Yeah, it's too damn early.
Shout out to early mornings.
Yeah.
Early birds are getting their worms right now.
Mm-hmm.
Early birds
Are
are
getting the worm prepped, sucked, and ready for the day.
Early birds are getting worms.
Wait, yeah, I know how to end the topic. The episode. Just disregard me until the end of the episode.
Just pretend you're not here.
Yeah.
Okay. So me first?
Yeah.
Do you want to do all my topics at once? Because there's 3 stories.
Actually, you know what? You go first. I'll do my second. You do your second. I'll do my second. You do your third. How about that?
Oh, you have multiple things too?
I have 2.
Oh, okay. Okay. So this is from 101 True Tales from the World of Espionage. 28. There's 101, obviously.
Yeah.
Each one's 2 pages long, so they're not super long. They're just little interesting stories. This one is the Nazi plot in Florida, which I'm surprised we didn't learn about this in school because it's kind of it's not insane, but it's kind of insane. So, part of the Nazi Operation Pastorius in 1942, which was actually created by Hitler himself. So there's kind of I guess a
validity to it.
Oh no, there's definitely validity to it. And I was gonna say it's probably why it failed, but it's not. It's not why it failed. It'll be super obvious why it failed. So there's a Nazi U-boat. It traveled to the East Coast, and it dropped 2 teams of Nazis off. One was in New York, right off Long Island. They got fucking close. It's crazy how close they got.
There's I don't know if you've seen it. There's pictures that Nazis have taken on submarines through the periscope of the New York City skyline.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking crazy.
I wonder if it was from the same U-boat from this.
I would think it probably was because it's in New York, Long Island.
Yeah.
It's a part of New York, isn't it?
It's New York City.
Yeah. Or the outskirts of it.
Well, New York City's on Long Island.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. I think. If I'm wrong, I'm going to feel really stupid. But then They dropped the first group off on Long Island, and then they went down to Florida, and they were like it said a couple hundred yards off the coast, which that is very close for a U-boat. So they dropped a second team off on Florida. So both groups of Nazis, they landed wearing their Nazi uniforms. And there's actually a good reason for this, because back in World War II, if you got caught being like a saboteur, like undercover, you'd be immediately executed.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were wearing your uniform, you'd be taken as a prisoner of war.
Okay.
What?
I have some clarification. Long Island, New York City is on Long Island, but it is on, like if...
Like it's more inland?
No,
What?
it is actually, in fact, the very opposite. It's just barely on Long Island, and then like there's more to Long Island than just New York City.
Yeah. Oh, I think on the tip of Long Island is where that Camp Hero was from the Montauk.
Okay.
Like it's at the way tip.
Because I know the Great Gatsby, they live on Long Island.
Yeah, which they were in New York, right? Weren't they?
No, they were like, like the
Oh.
big, like the big, like Gatsby's house.
Yeah, like
that
on
was
the
on
bay
Long
or
Island.
something.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
always saw the light on the other side.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, they landed wearing their uniforms so that if they got caught, they wouldn't be executed immediately.
Mhm.
Well, I guess they wouldn't do it immediately, but like,
Yeah.
they'd execute them on the beach. Fuck
Yeah.
it. So they had been picked because prior to the war, they had like all the Nazis that were in this group, they lived in the United States before,
Okay.
which that
Yeah,
was
that's-
fairly common.
Yeah, there was like a lot of people who Hitler was like, come back and serve the fatherland.
Well, we were like buddies with Germany, weren't we? Or we were kind of like neutral towards them, and before they started doing their bullshit, weren't they?
Yeah. Well,
'Cause
Hitler
after-
didn't like America.
No, but
Well, he liked
wasn't
American
in-
movies.
But between World War One, he wasn't the ruler right after World War One. It took until
No.
the 30s.
Yeah, like late 20s.
Yeah, so we were like, I guess just neutral, I guess. But they were familiar with like the American laws and the customs, so they wouldn't stick out like, what is
Yeah.
a dollar? Like, that was more Russian than anything.
Yeah.
But anyway, so a couple could speak English without with like no accent. They sounded like pure Americans.
Mhm.
So there was like the perfect cover. So, fuck, this is so early. So they landed, they changed clothes, they buried their uniforms and explosives that they had with them, because their whole thing was to commit like industrial sabotage,
Like blend in,
it was to like destroy industry so that we couldn't like produce.
like tanks and ammo. And,
Yeah, because we were in the war by now. This is 42.
Mhm.
So
Hell, shit's swinging.
oh yeah, so they had 175,000 with them to fund like their travel and their operations, whatever. Because I guess sending money would be super suspicious getting it
Yeah.
from Germany or other countries. But the New York leader, George Dash, he thought the plane was doomed to fail. So 5 days after they landed, he called the FBI and turned himself in. So that's why he was...
What a pussy.
It was like...
Jesus.
Which I'm glad he did, because it'd be fucked if they started destroying
Yeah,
them. But like,
but-
what a pussy.
A fucking coward.
So 5 days after they landed, he turned himself in. 10 days after they landed, all 8 of them were arrested, and all of their buried explosives, possessions, uniforms, and stuff were recovered by the FBI. And at first, the FBI was suspicious. He was like, what the fuck is he talking about? Like,
Yeah.
there's no Nazis in America. But then he showed them $80,000, and they're like, oh, fuck. he has some money. So, like, why would a guy with this much money turn himself in unless he is, like,
Yeah.
the guy with the money and the explosives and everything? So they were tried by a military commission, and it said like this was the first military trial that also had civilian, like a civilian jury, because they didn't want it to be like super like lopsided, like
Yeah.
what's the word, like biased.
Yeah.
Which not, how is anybody going to vote to let Nazis that came to destroy shit out? But,
Yeah.
like, they were all sentenced. Well, 6 of them were sentenced to death, and George Dash and the other team member, Ernest Berger, which I'm guessing he was the leader of the New York team, because I think it wouldn't make sense to have one of the other like the lower cronies like
Bleeding.
no there's 6 of them that were sentenced to death.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that the 2 high-ranking ones they kept for information.
Oh,
that's just what
okay.
I assumed. It didn't say.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But yeah, they were sentenced to life in prison. But in 1948, President Truman, he released the men and deported them to the American zone of West Germany. I don't know if it was to like just keep them in a prison over there, but I don't know. The other 6 men were killed by electric chair a month after their sentencing. So that was the super short-lived, like, it's just insane to me. Like, they prepped, Hitler himself approved this thing.
Could you imagine, let alone, like, the hot-headed feeling of Hitler? Like,
I doubt his head was very hot. Oh! But, like, do you think he actually panicked, or he's just like...
I think he was more upset, like, God damn it.
I picture the Hitler and Inglourious Basterds just losing his mind.
Yeah,
which I'm sure he did a lot because he was strung out on drugs the whole time.
Like bull semen.
Yeah, we went over that in the topic, didn't we? I'm pretty sure I went over all the drugs he was on.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I did. It was earlier. He was on a fuckload of drugs constantly. Yeah. He would take drugs to take him up and then also to take him down. Like, it was...
What's the same thing Elvis used? Take a shit ton of uppers and a shit ton of downers.
I don't know how he didn't die from drugs.
Yeah.
He supposedly shot himself in a bunker, but there's also...
I heard there was like cyanide tablets. But I think you're right.
Oh, I think Eva Braun took that because they were going to do it together, and he was like, nope. And then he shot himself.
That kind of seemed like a Vincenzo kind of thing.
Got ya.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
What if it was a fucking prank?
Pranked! Or punked.
I wouldn't put it past Hitler to prank somebody like that.
He punked Eva Braun so hard.
That's the original punked.
Yeah.
Do you think Ashton Kutcher was there to, like...
They film it?
Yeah.
I think he was in the Fear bunker.
That's all I have on the first one.
Okay.
They're really short stories.
Yeah, mine are actually really short, too.
They're just interesting little stories.
Mm-hmm.
They're interesting stories, Ben.
Interesting little stories.
Okay, let's keep this rigmarole rolling.
All right. Do you want to hear about Louis Armstrong and Richard Nixon? You might have heard about this before. I think I said something.
I don't know if I did.
Okay, so, he didn't smuggle Louis Armstrong, but he smuggled something for him. So, Richard Nixon, the president or one of the ex-presidents of the United States, aside from being known for Watergate, that whole rigmarole, he was very well known for his war on drugs in the early 70s and like late 60s. I think he was president during the late 60s after LBJ.
I think. I don't know who he preceded, but...
Yeah, he would have been 68 because Kennedy was up in 64 and LBJ.
Oh, he took over.
Yeah. So he met with countless people, talking like put an end to the war on drugs, including Elvis, like we talked about in a previous topic. So there was a time where he smuggled pot out of the U.S. or maybe into the U.S. for Louis Armstrong. Like,
that's so fucked considering what he did for drugs.
Yeah, but he'll kind of redeem himself a little bit.
Nixon will?
Yeah. Let me just get into it.
Okay.
Okay, so Louis Armstrong, for those of you who don't know, he sang "What a Wonderful World," possibly one of like the most timeless songs of all time. Was well known. He's well known for his iconic voice, his gravelly voice, and his talent with his with his trumpet. He was very good at trumpet too. He emerged in the period post World War I, but pre World War II, and was a huge driving force in the jazz age, like the 20s and 30s.
Wait, was that song pre World War II?
No, that was like 69.
Oh, okay.
Or like late 60s.
I didn't think it was that early.
No. What most people don't know is that he was an avid smoker, which I had no idea. After being introduced to it in the mid-20s, he helped popularize it with like musicians like everywhere. A lot of like
weed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Some people also say that he smoked with Bing Crosby.
Really?
And got him to like start smoking, which I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. More prevalent than I thought.
Yeah. So, Armstrong, he regularly smoked before live performances and recording sessions. I didn't say why. I thought maybe just like cool his nerves or something like that.
Or what if he just liked it?
Yeah, that too. In 1930, Armstrong and his drummer were caught smoking a joint before the session they were about to play by police, and this made him the first celebrity to be arrested for smoking pot, which I thought that was pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So flash forward about 20 years. During the 50s, the U.S. sent musicians all over the world to show just how good America was after World War II to like places that have just been ravaged, and they were trying to get them on the U.S. bandwagon instead of the Soviet one.
I thought you meant just rubbing their faces in it.
No,
Look how
no.
good we are.
We're so much better than you.
Look at you destroyed.
Yeah. So they're, like I said, trying to get battered countries on the U.S. bandwagon. And Louis Armstrong was one of these musicians. I don't know how many people, like, went over. Because this was, like, it said that by this point, he was already, like super well-known all over the world. So I don't know who else, like, went to these places.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, me neither. But he was one of these guys, and he was flying all over the world. And he could do all this, like, really cool stuff because he had, like, he was technically an ambassador. So he had, like, a bunch of immunity everywhere. The only problem was not every country was so accepting of marijuana, but, like, the U.S., for example, where he got stuck at, he was in New York. It didn't say if he was flying out of New York or flying into New York. I'm going to assume he was flying out just because of the story. So, just as he was about to get searched, he was waiting. So he had 3 pounds, or not 3 pounds, 3 grams.
Okay.
Is that more reasonable?
I would think 3
Okay.
pounds is a lot.
Yeah. He had 3 grams of pot on him, and he's standing in this line waiting to get on a plane, and all these people are starting to get searched ahead of him. He's like, oh shit, I'm fucked. So, like, all is looking bad for him. He's like sweating like really bad. It's very obvious that something's up, and just all of a sudden, Richard Nixon and because he was vice president at the time. Richard Nixon and the Secret Service, they come rolling in through the airport, and he's like, oh, that's Louis Armstrong. So he goes to get a picture taken with him. He's like, what are you doing here? And so Louis Armstrong's like, well, I'm waiting to get on the plane, but they're about to search me. And Richard Nixon goes, oh, ambassadors don't have to wait to get searched to get on the plane. And Richard Nixon, he's like, the vice president, I think I might have wrote it down. He said something along the lines of, the vice president will be happy to personally carry your bags. Oh. And so Richard Nixon, like, carried these bags that had pot on the plane, and Louis Armstrong got off without a hitch. I thought that was pretty interesting.
That's a really cool story.
Yeah. And, like, this is where I was saying that he kind of redeemed himself. He didn't know that he did this.
Wait, what?
Louis Armstrong never told him what was in his bag.
Oh, I thought...
So it's not like he did it on purpose.
I thought he knew.
No. So, I mean, he might have, but the story didn't say that.
So Louis Armstrong pretty much used Nixon as a drug mule.
Yeah.
For a quick second.
Yeah, a presidential drug mule.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
That's either the most, like, baller thing Louis Armstrong has done or the coolest thing Nixon has done. Why not both? I mean, if you knew about it.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It blows my mind that happened and then Nixon went so hard on drugs.
Yeah.
Because isn't his administration the one that made, like, the crazy drug laws for, like, everything?
It was either him or Nancy Reagan.
I'm sure she contributed to it.
She was, like, hell-bent.
Have you heard the Nancy Reagan stuff lately? They're calling her the throat goat.
I heard that, yeah.
She was, like, known for her blowjobs in Hollywood before she was, like...
Married?
Yeah. It's like... That was apparently a big thing in old Hollywood. Because there's so many actresses. Because apparently the contracts they used to sign, you would sign a contract and you would just have, like, a ton... Because they made movies like crazy back then.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like John Wayne made, like, fucking how many movies?
Like 50.
Yeah, they would... But, like, I was listening to Ross Patterson talk about it. Because
That's where I saw it, yeah.
Yeah, he used to work in Hollywood.
Okay.
And he was saying that when he worked with some, like, 80-year-old actress when so she was big. I forget who it was. She was big back in, like, the heyday of, like, 50s Hollywood. She said, which, this is fucked, but this is how it used to be. You would get a contract, but then they could just be like, yeah, your contract's up. So what they would do to keep the contract rolling was you'd have to become a throat goat, pretty much.
Well, wait, was she an actress?
I think.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure she was.
I knew Ronald was.
I think that's how they probably met.
Okay, yeah, that
Was
makes
in
sense.
Hollywood. I'm pretty sure that's what. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Nancy Reagan was an actress. Let me look it up. Nancy Reagan.
The throat goat of Hollywood.
It's really crass, but it's funny.
Yeah.
I just typed in a Nancy. Nancy Reagan. Funeral. I don't want the funeral. Actress. Okay, she was an American film actress and First Lady of the United. Yeah, she was an actress. And then super conservative on drugs later.
Yeah, her ads were like batshit. Like they're like, if you smoke a joint, you're gonna kill your family.
Yeah, those old like.
I mean, that's not a quote, but it's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The old reefer madness stuff.
Yeah.
That was insane.
Man, can you imagine calling it reefer?
Reefer. Smoke the reefer.
Yeah. Sound like a 40s cop.
Caught him with an ounce of reefer. Do you think cops back then like regularly took weed from people and then smoked it?
I don't know.
I'm sure some of them did.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have a friend here. I'm not going to say his name, but he doesn't smoke weed. But they were at some like state park recently, and I guess he didn't have anything in the car, but this park ranger came up and was like, "I need to search your car and everything. It smells like weed." He was like, "Well, it shouldn't, because I don't have anything." And like this guy kept like, he was like subtly threatening that he'd be in trouble if he didn't let him search his car, but like there was no reason.
Yeah.
Like they need a reason. It's like the Fourth Amendment.
It's not like he had like a dog or anything, did he?
No.
Okay. Well, that can be a reason if
just,
a dog smells something.
Yeah.
But...
It was a park ranger, so like.
Yeah, but
they
yeah.
have canine units. I don't think. I'm sure they do, but he didn't have a dog. But he was like, he kept like yelling at him like, "I need to search your car," and he was like, I got the impression that he just wanted it to go smoke it because he was like super insistent that he needed to find it. And he was like, "I don't have anything." Like, I think he ended up not searching it and like telling him to leave. It was, the whole story was strange.
Just put it in park when he walks away.
What do you mean? Oh, like as you're leaving?
No,
like
no.
as he's leaving?
No, yeah, as he's leaving because he's being a dick.
Yeah. It was just weird that he was like, "I smell something."
Yeah.
And he was like, "No, you don't, because I don't have it."
Yeah.
I don't know. Thought that was a little interesting story. Well, you want to hear about more spycraft?
Yeah, let's hear it.
This one is from Vietnam. It's called Leave No Trace. It's the 36th story. So, you've heard of MACV-SOG, right? It's Military Assistance Command Vietnam Studies and Observations Group. It was like special forces, like special warfare, like the guerrilla warfare unit. So, it was an American unconventional war group in Vietnam. And this group did some of the most dangerous missions of the whole war. Like, I don't know, I found this podcast, it's called the SOGcast, and it's this old MACV-SOG guy. He interviews, like, other soldiers that he was with in Vietnam. They did some crazy shit. There's this one guy he interviewed, they were, like, under heavy fire, and he was, like, shot a bunch of times, but he was, like, still awake, and they drug him onto the helicopter, and as they were taking off, the helicopter was hit, and it started spinning out of control, and he was fucking launched from the helicopter, hit the beach, lived, and got into another helicopter under heavy fire.
Holy shit.
It was insane. He was like in a coma and shit, and he was like a full body cast and everything afterwards. It was, like, the stories these guys have are insane because it was like the most dangerous missions.
Yeah.
And so a typical SOG mission, it involved a handful of American troops, like the SOG troops, and a few recruited indigenous tribesmen, like
people who know the land.
They know their land, they know the enemy better, and like so they'd be patrolling in deep enemy territory with like little hope. Like if you got like injured or like captured, it was pretty much up to you to get out because they couldn't. It was so deep behind enemy lines they couldn't get you out. So they would do everything they could to conceal themselves so there was like less chance of getting caught. So MACV-SOG, they would wear the signature black pajamas of the Viet Cong. It was pretty much just like it was just like I don't want to say saggy, but like kind of robes, but it was just like hangy clothing.
Yeah,
like,
I think I know what you mean.
Like, just look up the black pajamas of the Viet Cong. You'll see it. But they wore those. They would use Soviet weapons like AKs and everything, so that they wouldn't like
blend in.
Yeah, so if they would get like into a gunfight and there's enemies like a little bit away, they wouldn't be like, "That's an American weapon," because like you could tell a difference. So they would just hear AKs. I think it was their other buddies over there.
Mm-hmm.
So like they would be less inclined to come fight if there was like if you could hear like M16s shooting.
Yeah.
They would also eat the same food as the enemies, like so that they would have the same body odor. They didn't want to be smelled. Like they were fucking deep into it.
Yeah.
They were pretty much American Viet Cong, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but despite this, they still had like an insanely high like KIA and prisoner of war rate, like the highest than any other unit in the United States. Like that was they had an extremely high like casualty rate, like throughout the whole war. So, one way to cover their tracks was created by Welco, which they made special boots for the MACV SOG. So the soles were specially made so that when you stepped in the mud, it would look like a bare footprint.
Okay.
The bottom of the boot looks weird. It just looks like a giant foot on the bottom of the boot. So that if they were like on the trails in the woods, and these enemies would come up on it, it wouldn't be like those are American boots. Like, so they wouldn't be followed.
Mm-hmm.
So they left the footprint, but like it worked. But since the print was so much smaller than the boot, so like it would be a boot, but then like a small footprint on the bottom, they would have no heel support, and the operators found them extremely uncomfortable, and they were practically forced to walk on their toes. It felt like they were walking on their toes the whole time. So it was like, I'm sure that was like extremely fatiguing on the foot. Like, you know, you can't walk on your toes for a long period of time. But they tried other methods of altering their tracks, like putting socks over their boots to make it less like defined and everything, but nothing like really worked because like the socks would wear out like after like a day of walking.
Yeah.
So, support troops from MACV SOG, they took a bunch of boots from combat hospitals from like injured soldiers and stuff, and they put them all in planes, and they dropped 20,000 pairs of boots from the planes all throughout the jungle, so that the Viet Cong would just like find them and be like, oh fuck, like good boots we can actually like hike in.
Mm-hmm.
So then all the Viet Cong had boots. So then
they didn't think anything different.
Yeah, so if they saw tracks, they'd be like, that's probably our guys because we all have boots now.
Yeah.
So the NVA and the Viet Cong apparently jumped on the opportunity immediately and scavenged all the boots. Like, so it worked. It worked like perfectly. So now many of them were wearing the boots. They couldn't tell the difference between Vietnamese and American tracks on the trails. There's no like numbers to say like, yeah, this for sure worked.
Yeah.
But you'd think it'd have to work. Like,
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's my story.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah. I just thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
The pictures of the boots, let me find it. There's chapter 36. Look at this. Look at the bottom of this boot. It looks like a bare foot on the bottom of the boot.
Oh, that is whack.
Yeah. But you can see how it's smaller than the boot itself. But it just made me think, like, wonder what else they did. I'm sure it's in the book, but I'm saving for some other days, too. I couldn't think of a good topic this week, and I was like, oh, I have that book. So, like, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The next story I have is pretty funny, but I want you to get into yours first.
Okay. So, this is about the story of White Russian Coca-Cola. I don't know if you ever heard about it.
White Russian Coca-Cola?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it starts after, like, right towards the end of World War II. It might be the end, actually. Americans and Russians are together, and there's this guy in the Soviet army. His name is Georgy Zhukov.
Sounds very Russian.
Yeah. And so he's with these Americans, and they have a bunch of Coke, and they're drinking it, and he's like, oh my god, we have nothing like this back in Russia. We need it. And so, you know, things kind of fizzle out between the Americans and the Russians, and we get it bitter. And he's like, I have to have more of this Coke. It is so good. And so he goes above the heads of, like, the Soviets, you know. He writes to Harry Truman, and he's like, hey, can you get me Coke, like, and send it to Russia? And so he directed him to, like, the person in charge of, like, Coca-Cola.
Wait, Truman.
Harry S.
He directed that guy. He got the letter and responded to it?
He got him talking to the guy in charge of Coca-Cola, like the president, and So he wanted the Zhukov. He wanted to have a clear Coke, so that it would just look like vodka, because all Russians drink is vodka, and
There's no water over there. It's just vodka.
yeah, they melt the snow and it's vodka.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, "Can you guys make it like clear so we don't have to like hide it?" He was like, "Oh yeah, we can do that."
Oh yeah, they'd get in trouble if they found it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think it was in Austria, Coke had a bottling plant, and so they started making like clear Coke. It said it took away a bit of the flavor because there was like caramel, like something they added, and it was the caramel that made it brown. And so they bottled it, and I can't remember what kind of bottle they put it in, but they said it was different than like a regular Coke bottle, obviously because it was gonna say Coca-Cola on the outside of it. But they bottle it, and they get these like red and yellow star caps, put them on top of these like bottles, and I can't remember how long it said that this went on for, but it said that he didn't tell anyone like until he died. Like I don't think he told anyone when he died, and that was in 1971 he died.
Wait, so Coca-Cola in Vienna, you said, right?
In Austria,
Okay.
yeah.
They made Coke specifically for this one guy?
Yeah.
Wonder how
And they
much
made like a bunch of like crates of it.
for one guy.
Yeah. I'm sure well maybe he didn't share them.
It was all his.
But and then this is since that was a really short story, there's a story about Pepsi in the USSR. So I think it's like 1960 if memories or no. No, maybe it's right before that. So Nixon, again, he's in this. The people in there's some contract with Coke, and I guess there's a convention every year in Moscow, and it showed like how good American life was.
In Moscow?
Yeah, and or it didn't maybe not quite that extent, but it had like all this like American technology, and so there was some contract that they wanted to sign with Coke, but they wouldn't do it. So Pepsi, Jesus Christ, Pepsi, they jumped all over the idea, and so they went to Nixon, who was VP at the time, I want to say. If not, he still had some like political power.
Okay.
But they were like, hey, when you go over there to talk with Khrushchev, we want you to pass by the Pepsi booth and get him to try it. It's like, okay.
To get Khrushchev to try it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're over in Russia now, and Nixon. They actually had a debate before they got to the Pepsi booth. They had a debate about like an American kitchen and like American manufacturing and like industry and stuff like that. And so they're done. They're done arguing, and he goes to Khrushchev and he says, "Oh, this beverage is so good. It's good after a hearty quarrel. You should try some." And so they both drink a thing of Pepsi, and
Blew his tits off.
yeah, Khrushchev liked it so much he drinks 6 more glasses of it.
Jesus Christ.
I know, but after drinking vodka and straight water, I'm sure Pepsi would be like God sent, and so he's like, okay, what do we have to do to get this? And so it took him like 14 years, but they finally get a bottling plant. I can't remember where at in Russia it was, or somewhere in the Soviet Union, but they finally get one in 1974, and it said that the Russian, what do you have? Their bill.
The ruble?
Yeah, ruble. Apparently it's like you can't trade it for American dollar bills, which I don't know how that works.
What, back then?
Yeah.
It's probably because we were enemies.
Yeah, but I don't know. Anyway, so they're like, well, wait, how are we gonna make any money off of this? So they got something with like all the rights, some shit like that, inside of bullshit jargon, and they got like the Soviets got all the stuff to make the Pepsi, and then they had to do something in return. I don't know, but there's a picture of Khrushchev trying this. It says Pepsi big like right on the side, for like on purpose, and they used it in like ads and all that kind of stuff. I thought that was pretty cool.
I can just picture Khrushchev like he's in the, it's like Cold War's full swing at this point.
Yeah.
And then it's just like the only thing dominating his mind is like, how do I get Pepsi into the Soviet Union? Is this at that conference?
Yeah. And they're using his picture for ads, and they're like Khrushchev wants to be sociable, have a Pepsi.
Oh my god. Was that like a Russian ad or is that?
No, that was one of our ads, but because this was before they had Pepsi.
I would think that would be like a detriment to Pepsi.
Yeah, I kind of thought that too.
Marketing it from the Russian leader, because everybody was just like, Russia's bad.
Well, but maybe it's like even Pepsi can win over like the Russians, maybe something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I thought that was pretty funny that they just like totally tricked them into getting Pepsi or getting hooked on Pepsi, and it worked flawlessly.
Do you know what I still find funny? This reminded me of it. You know Gorbachev? He was
Yeah.
like the last Soviet leader union.
Pizza Hut.
He did a Pizza Hut commercial.
Yeah.
After the Soviet Union fell, he did a fucking Pizza Hut commercial.
I mean, you were in charge of the most one of the superpowers of the world, and now you're making Pizza Hut commercials.
He was the most progressive one though. Like he opened up like private enterprise again.
Yeah.
In Russia, so I guess he's probably the best guy.
Yeah.
Of the Soviet Union.
But still, like that's crazy.
That the guy in charge of our Cold War enemy was then doing a Pizza Hut commercial. I want to do a topic on the wild 90s in Russia because they're fucking crazy.
Yeah. Have you seen, there's a picture of like the first McDonald's that opened like Moscow. Jesus. It opened in Moscow, and there's just an enormous line of people because they'd never had it before.
What is this good food?
Yeah.
We finally have something other than beets.
Yeah. Beets and rocks and vodka.
Rocks and vodka.
I bet they serve vodka by like the mega cup over it
like
at McDonald's in Russia.
Big gulp cup of straight vodka.
Yeah.
It's like, you want to get a little buzz? Drink this gallon of vodka. What if vodka...
Every Happy Meal comes with a toy and vodka. a shot of vodka.
Shot of vodka. That'd be pretty sweet. Dude, the wild 90s though. In Russia, I was listening to a Time Suck episode. It was about Alexander Solonik. He was like the Iceman. He's like the one of the most famous hitmen of the 90s. Because after the Soviet Union fell, the only people that knew anything about like capitalist enterprise was the people that were doing black market stuff in the Cold War, because nobody else knew how to run businesses. So like these gangs emerged, and there's fucking like the Russian mafia that you hear of.
Yeah.
It wasn't just one organization, it was just gangs of people everywhere. And I forget where I was going with that. It was how wild it was. Oh, it was like pretty much the gangs ran the country pretty much. Like the police were trying to keep them under control, but they couldn't.
Yeah.
So there's like hitmen out everywhere, like whacking other mafia leaders and everything. And this dude, Alexander Solonik, he was insane. He fulfilled so many like high level contracts for them. There's this one guy, he had like 2 vans like blocking the road at the end of this road. This guy walked out of his house. He fucking used an RPG to blow him up. Like,
oh my god.
Blew up some car that he was getting into or something, and then just like drove away. He killed some other dude in a nightclub. He had like these 2 Glocks. He walked in. So there's 3 bodyguards for this guy, and then him, and he had to take this guy out and get away. So in the nightclub, he put his hand on 2 of the guard's shoulders, ripped them down to the ground, shot the 2 guys, and then shot the 2 guys on the ground and ran out.
Holy
Like,
shit.
These stories are fucking crazy of the wild 90s.
Yeah.
And there's apparently a black market under Moscow, like an actual black market that was the size of like football fields. Huge.
Good lord.
Yeah. I tried finding info on it. I need to search like deeper on that, because it was crazy, because like all the smuggled goods from the Western world would be sold there.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah.
Like just selling like a shit ton of arms from like old Soviet stuff.
Even normal things like music and like clothes and stuff from the West. Like, it was so illegal there that you could only get like normal like records and like soap and shit from America if you went to like pretty much a drug dealer, because that's how you could buy it before, I guess, before they opened back up. But yeah, I want to do the wild 90s. It was insane. There's apparently some giant like pyramid scheme that was just advertised on TV in like a super 90s commercial, like, you know, the shitty music and everything, and apparently it stole from millions of people, because so many people fell for it because they didn't know anything about like scams and stuff, because it was all communist up until then. and the guy went to prison. The guy who ran it got out, and I ran it again, nationwide, and people fell for it again.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Russia, it never ends to interest me.
Yeah.
Well, you want to hear about the Operation Devil Eyes?
I want to hear about Operation Brown Eye.
Brown Eye? We should make an Operation Brown Eye. Just, I don't know. Operation Devil Eyes, 2005 to 2006. Had to do with Bin Laden. So the CIA launched it, Operation Devil Eyes, if you didn't hear me the other 5 times. They wanted to demonize Bin Laden to the people of Pakistan. So they contacted Donald Levine. He was a Hasbro executive, like the toy maker. He's the one who created the G.I. Joe figurines. I don't want to say dolls. Action figures. So they contacted him. And Levine was a Korean War vet, and he was like proud to help the country out in any way. Because obviously we had like a problem with Bin Laden.
Yeah.
So he had contacts at Chinese Hasbro manufacturers. And this was all done under the board. They made prototypes of this toy without the rest of Hasbro knowing. They made a 12-inch tall figure that looked like Osama bin Laden. And the face was the trick. So they painted the face to look like bin Laden. But once, like, it was like heat-sensitive paint, so once a kid was like playing with it and his hand all over it, the face would wear off.
Oh.
And underneath would be a demonic... Our power just go out?
Yep.
Oh, we're still recording.
We are?
Everything's still up, yeah.
Nice.
But, so it was heat sensitive. Once a kid played with it, a demonic Osama bin Laden face was underneath.
That's like fucking mental warfare on kids.
Well, they wanted to scare kids away from bin Laden.
I get that, but fuck, dude.
So, the face looks startlingly similar to Darth Maul. Do you know what he looks like from Star Wars? So the toys were to be put into gift packages that the CIA was giving to kids. It had like school supplies, like backpacks and stuff, and then a little Osama bin Laden figurine.
That's fucked.
So they said the project was abandoned, but nobody knows if like toys actually made it over there. So they had like prototypes and stuff. One's on display at CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia, and another one was sold at an auction for over $12,000. So if you can get your hands on that, you can make some coin.
Yeah.
But the Washington Post did a report that somebody told them that hundreds of them were shipped to Karachi in Pakistan. So out there, some kids could have gotten a demonic, like, they could just be laying around in Pakistan.
Yeah.
A bunch of demonic figures. I just found that really funny. It was very funny to me.
That's really dark.
I have a picture. It's not terrifying, I don't think, but I'm guessing if you're a little kid, it's probably pretty scary. Here's a picture. I'll try to take a picture of it and put it up on the gram. It looks like little Darth Maul face of bin Laden underneath. So once they played with it, the paint would just peel away and it'd be like, fuck, Osama bin Laden bad. Like, it is psychological warfare.
I mean, on little kids, that's fucked.
But like,
I get why, but
if you do grow up with that association with them, they were just hoping that like the kids would grow up and like try to help them locate the demon.
Yeah.
I guess.
I didn't like that.
What, that it was done on kids?
Yeah.
It's a little fucked, but it is funny.
It's really fucked.
It's funny to me. Not traumatizing kid. You know, do you get the humor in it?
Yeah, I get it.
It's funny that like that's what they did to scare people away from bin Laden. They just made a little demon figure out of him. You look uncomfortable.
I am. I didn't like that one bit.
But like, yeah, it is kind of fucked. But I'm standing by it. It's funny. That's all I have. That's all I got, son. I'm gonna turn this honky on. Last time we recorded, this drone was dead, and it didn't really fly anywhere. I'm gonna try to buzz the camera with it.
Nice.
Hopefully I won't actually hit it. This thing's loud as fuck, so it's probably gonna sound shitty. Helps if I... Oh, it's blowing papers everywhere. I want to do a trick with it. I think it's going to let me. Oh, shit!
Get under control!
This thing's hard to control. I'm honestly used to video games like where you pull up, down and it goes up.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of reversed. Can you see it, children? It's right in front of you.
Sorry to all the audio listeners.
It's not horrible in the. Okay, I'm gonna attempt to land this puppy. Yeah.
Nice.
Wanna have a go at it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hell yeah. Forward,
fuck.
forward! Remember the white light's the front. Fuck yeah. I bet Myra's shitting her pants outside right now. You can't really fly it in the house anymore because she's so terrified of it. I just feel bad using it. But I don't want to take it outside because it's all wet.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Try to land it in my hand. You know the button to land it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck!
Wait, land it!
I'm sorry! I hit the wrong button!
Terrified me.
I hit the switch! I hit the...
You just turned the remote off?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. This thing's endless fun to me.
It's durable. It's taken a few heavy hits.
Because we have the propeller guards on it. We went over to my girlfriend's house. We were all partying. And Michael flew it. And we were drunk. Like, it was like stupid to fly it then because there was no control over it. And we were in a living room. And the dining room's like pretty much connected to the living room. It's like one big open room. And sitting on a couch, and he just fucking took off, hit the wall, and just landed behind the bookcase. It was fun. Is that all we have for today?
I think so.
That was a nice ending.
Yeah.
Follow us on Instagram, Grandma's Room Podcast. Twitter is room_grandma. That's where we post all of our updates. Update to Facebook. Still no posts. Probably should post on it. I just don't like Facebook.
Yeah.
But we're on Rumble, Grandma's Room Podcast, YouTube, Grandma's Room Podcast. We're on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Amazon Music. Is there any other players that hold us?
I don't think so.
I'm sure we have more.
Pretty much just anywhere you can listen to a podcast,
Yeah,
we should be there.
And we have music playlists. I haven't looked to see if anybody downloaded them. It's not going to hurt our feelings because I listen to them too. Grandma's Crimbus Tree, Christmas music. Grandma's Saloon is Old Western Country. Waylon Jennings, We Say It Every Time. Marty Robbins. Opium Den's Vibin' Music. Tame Impala and such. We have Trap House. We have old and new rap. Jukebox. Grandma's Jukebox is like older jukebox music like Chuck Berry, Elvis. Grandma's Guitar Case. It's rock. Grandma's Clam Jams. 80s party rock music. Not like Party Rock is in the house tonight. Like actually,
Everybody just have a good time.
I listened to that song so much when I was in middle school. I hate it now. It was my ringtone in middle school. I remember one time we were going back from like a middle school football game, and everybody on the bus was asleep, but my phone kept going off. Every time I got a text, that song would play.
Why would you not turn off your ringer?
I couldn't figure it out. So I just like cram it into my backpack and keep it quiet. It was like one of those little track phones.
Yeah.
And I was, I guess, too young. I couldn't figure out like how to turn it off. Maybe it's just a testament to how stupid I am.
Well,
yeah.
It's morning now. Time to wake up, get your feet on the ground, take off running.
Give a big old kiss on her booty.
Yeah.
That's the king.
Kings and queens above 18.
On TikTok.
Yes.
He followed both of us.
Yes, he did.
Sweet. He's like a mini celebrity.
Mm-hmm. He's like the third person that followed me.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Fucking sweet.
I know.
If you listen to
Your Mom's House.
Yeah, Your Mom's House. It's Tom Segura's podcast.
Yeah.
He's like a star on that show. They fucking love him.
It's Tom Segura and Christina P's podcast.
Sorry.
Yeah. I'm looking out for the ladies.
Good morning, my kings and queens above 18. He just like he repeats himself in like 4 different ways each video.
Yeah.
Kind of creepy.
But it's pretty funny.
That she went and had like dinner with him in the park.
What?
They got a pizza for one of their live shows.
I didn't know that.
Had a date. Yeah, she said he's actually one of the nicest guys she's ever met.
That's pretty cool.
It's just his TikTok that's creepy.
Yeah.
It's funny. Half of his videos are done like I think he drives semi trucks,
Yeah, he's a rig driver.
and half of them just like an ungodly amount of like background noise and like construction sounds,
Chest
like
hair.
beep beep beep, like in the background, like "Good morning, my kings and queens." Follow him on TikTok.
Yeah.
And also follow Dimension 7 Yo.
Yes.
He is a stomp master.
He is a fucking legend.
He likes WWE screaming and stomping.
Yeah.
And he likes horror movies.
Yeah.
Is that all?
I think so.
Take us out. Sing us a song.
Okay, I can't go higher than that.